What if I told you the most dangerous thing that can happen to your body isn't pain, isn't injury, but the moment when nothing heals anymore, and the worst part, you won't even notice it at first. Now imagine this. You wake up completely normal. No pain, no weakness. Nothing feels wrong. But deep inside your body, something has already failed. Now here's the question. How long can you survive if your body silently stops repairing itself? Because right now, as you're listening, your body is fixing thousands of tiny damages. Cuts you can't see, cells you don't even know exist. But what if all of that just stops instantly? Now imagine getting a small cut, something so minor you would normally ignore it, and you do ignore it, because why wouldn't you? You've had hundreds before. They always heal. But this time, something is different. Now here's the twist. It doesn't hurt more. It doesn't look worse immediately. It just stays exactly the same. Now ask yourself, would you even notice? Or would you move on with your day? Because that's how it begins. Not with pain, but with silence. Now imagine hours passing, then a full day, and that small cut still hasn't changed. Not better, not worse, just there, frozen in time. Now think about that. Your body, doing nothing. Now here's where your brain starts asking questions. Maybe it's slow healing. Maybe it's normal. Maybe you're overthinking. But deep inside, something feels off. Now imagine testing it, touching it, checking it again and again, waiting for any sign of change, but nothing happens. Now ask yourself, at what point do you realize this isn't normal anymore? Now imagine another injury, slightly bigger this time. Maybe you bump into something. Maybe your skin tears just a little. And again, no healing. Now the pattern begins. Now your brain can't ignore it anymore. Now here's the terrifying realization. Your body isn't broken in one place. It's broken everywhere. Now think about that. Healing isn't a single function. It's everything. Now imagine going through your day, suddenly aware of every sharp edge, every surface, every possible risk, because now nothing is temporary. Every mistake stays. Now ask yourself, how careful can a human really be? Because life isn't designed for zero damage. Now imagine small scratches appearing, marks that shouldn't last, but they do. Building up slowly, turning your skin into a record of everything that's ever happened. Now here's where fear starts to grow, not from pain, but from permanence. Now imagine looking at your hand, noticing multiple small injuries, none of them healing, all of them staying, and now a single thought hits you. What if this never fixes? Now think about infections, something your body handles every day without you even knowing. Now imagine losing that protection. Now ask yourself, how dangerous is a small cut when your body can't close it? Now imagine redness forming, slight swelling, nothing extreme, but enough to notice. And the worst part, you know it won't go away. Now here's where the psychological pressure builds. Every second, every minute, you're watching your body, waiting for something that never happens. Healing. Now imagine trying to act normal, trying to ignore it, but every movement reminds you something is wrong. Now ask yourself, how long before this becomes fear? And how long before fear becomes panic? Because this isn't just physical anymore, it's mental. Now imagine one final realization forming in your mind. If small injuries don't heal, what happens when something bigger happens? And that question is where everything changes. Now imagine this. You thought it would stay small, manageable, something you could live with, but it doesn't. Because when your body loses the ability to heal, damage doesn't wait. It builds, it stacks, it multiplies, silently. And that's where everything begins to fall apart. Now here's the question. What happens when your body becomes a system that only breaks, but never fixes? Because at that moment, survival is no longer about strength, it's about time. Now imagine waking up the next day, hoping things improved, hoping maybe your body just needed time, but instead, you notice something terrifying. Nothing changed, not even slightly. The same injuries, the same damage, still there. Now think about that. Your body, frozen in a state of damage. Now ask yourself, how long can a human survive like that? Now imagine something worse. The injuries didn't just stay, they got slightly worse. Not dramatically, but enough to notice. Enough to make your heart drop. Now here's where fear becomes real. Because now you understand, this isn't temporary, this is permanent. Now imagine touching one of those wounds, expecting pain, expecting reaction. But what you feel instead is something deeper, fear. Now think about infections. Again, but this time stronger, more aggressive, because your body can't seal the wound. Now imagine bacteria slowly entering, spreading, growing, and your body trying to respond, but failing to complete the process. Now ask yourself, what happens when your body can fight, but can't finish the fight? Now imagine the infection staying, growing slowly, becoming something you can no longer ignore. Now here's the terrifying truth. Without healing, every injury becomes a long-term threat. Now think about how many times your body saves you every day, without you even realizing. Now imagine losing all of that, instantly. Now ask yourself, how dangerous is the world when your body can't recover from it? Now imagine your skin starting to change. Not healing, not regenerating, just holding damage, like a permanent record. Now think about that image. Your body slowly becoming a map of injuries, each one telling a story, each one never disappearing. Now here's where it gets darker, because damage doesn't just stay on the surface, it goes deeper. Now imagine internal stress, internal damage, things you can't see, things you can't control. Now imagine those not healing either. Now ask yourself, how long before something critical fails? Now imagine your energy dropping, slowly, day by day, because your body is constantly under pressure, trying to maintain itself without repair. Now think about exhaustion, not from movement, but from existing. Now imagine waking up tired, staying tired, never fully recovering. Now here's the psychological impact, because now your mind is constantly aware. Every movement feels risky, every action feels dangerous. Now imagine picking something up, and your brain instantly asking, what if this causes damage? Now ask yourself, how long before fear controls every decision you make? Now imagine trying to live normally, pretending everything is fine, but every second, your body reminds you, it's not. Now think about accidents, small ones, unavoidable ones. Now imagine one happening, a slightly deeper injury, something you can't ignore, something serious, and this time, you know, it's not going to heal. Now here's where panic hits, because now, it's not just fear, it's reality. Now imagine trying to treat it, trying to protect it, doing everything possible, but deep down, you know, your body isn't helping anymore. Now ask yourself, how long can external care replace what your body used to do automatically? Now imagine days passing, and instead of healing, the injury stays, or worse, spreads. Now think about that. Time is no longer your ally. It's your enemy. Now imagine your body slowly losing ground, not all at once, but piece by piece. Now here's where things become critical, because once damage reaches a certain point, it doesn't just stay, it affects everything. Now imagine your body struggling to keep systems stable, your energy dropping faster, your strength fading. Now ask yourself, what happens when your body can no longer compensate? Now imagine reaching a point where even small stress feels overwhelming, where even basic movement feels like a risk. Now think about the mental toll, living every second knowing one mistake could stay forever. Now imagine your thoughts becoming heavier, slower, more focused on survival than anything else. Now here's where the breakdown begins, not just physically, but mentally. Now imagine losing confidence in your own body, not trusting it anymore. Now ask yourself, how do you function when your own body feels like a liability? Now imagine isolation, avoiding situations, avoiding risks, trying to protect yourself from everything. Now think about that life, limited, restricted, controlled by fear. Now imagine reaching a point where damage has accumulated beyond what your body can handle. Now here's the final stage, where survival depends entirely on outside intervention, Doctors, protection, constant monitoring, because your body can't save itself anymore. Now imagine being stabilized, kept safe, but never healed, always vulnerable, always one step away from something worse. Now ask yourself, is that survival or just delay? Now think about the biggest truth. Healing is something you never notice until it's gone. And when it's gone, everything changes permanently. Now imagine living in a body that never improves, never recovers, only declines, slowly, silently, inevitably. Now here's the final realization. The most terrifying part of this entire scenario isn't the damage, isn't the pain, it's the certainty that nothing gets better ever again. And that is what makes this one of the most dangerous things that could ever happen to a human body.